Hey, what's going on everyone? NoZoupForYou here, and I did something the other day. Something I haven't done in a while, and that was I sat down and I played round after round after round of battleships. And I set them up differently as well. I resolved not to use Deadeye. I wanted to mess around with things. I wanted to see if I could get my battleship set up in a different way and play it in a different way. And you know what? After numerous rounds, all I gotta say is Brawling's dead. Oh my gosh, pushing's dead. No, just kidding. It's not. Brawling is definitely not dead. In fact, the rounds that I played were among the most fun I have had playing solo by myself in this game in a long time. I had a lot of fun. And every single round I played, I split between the Missouri and I split between the Jean Bart. Every round I played, I pushed. I didn't sit in the back again. Didn't use Deadeye. Didn't equip Deadeye. And I had a lot of fun. And I found that in the majority of the rounds, you know, even the other battleships were pushing. And you can see right here my secondaries popping off. I'm going to get to that because I've discovered some very interesting things that may have been overlooked just a little bit because of the whole, oh my god, Deadeye's here, it's the end of the world of warships situation going on. So first, you say, okay, you didn't take Deadeye, so what did you take instead? Well, I started playing around with close quarters combat, and for those of you unfamiliar with this 4-point skill, which is nestled right near Deadeye, what it does for you is if a ship gets inside your secondary range, your reload decreases by 10%, and that's both your main gun reload and that's your secondary reload. So while that doesn't seem like a lot, it can actually help. I mean, if you've got a ship with like 30-second gun reload, you're getting 3 seconds shaved right off the bat, and that can make the difference between getting that shot off against your enemy or not, especially if you're both low health. So in a close quarters situation, it might help, and on those faster reloading ships out there, it just helps reload all the faster. And then when you factor in things like adrenaline rush, I mean you're helping yourself here. You're helping fire more. But I did build these two ships in a secondary only loadout. Well, I don't want to say secondary only, but I did build them for secondaries. And I noticed a couple things that I hadn't noticed before. And maybe I just overlooked it when I had been playing this game prior to the patch, but I do think things were changed. And again, people haven't paid much attention to that. But I was surprised when I loaded out the Missouri and the secondaries were 10.5 kilometers. I don't remember them being 10.5 kilometers. I don't remember it being a quote-unquote secondary battleship. You know, please correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't played the Missouri in a while, to be honest, but I don't remember the secondaries being quite that good. And same goes for the Jean Bart that now sports 12 kilometer secondaries. I mean, the secondaries on this sucker are 12 kilometers, and I don't remember them being 12 kilometers. And once again, maybe they were, and I just forgot, but I thought the only other ships that had secondaries that went that far were the Kriegsmarine ships. So, Jean Bart, 12 kilometers, built for secondaries. So I think what Wargaming did with this Commander skill rework is it essentially made most secondary battleships if you built them that way. Well, why would you build a battleship as a secondary battleship? Because secondaries suck now. Well, that's another falsehood going around. Secondaries do not completely suck. No, they're not as good as they used to be on some ships, but they're still viable. They still start fires. Plus, the added bonus, now that every single battleship can be a secondary battleship, if you equip close quarters combat, for Jean Bart, for example, as long as the ship's within that 12 kilometer range, like this Izumo right here, I get that 10% buff to both my main guns and my secondaries. And here I go brawling, or getting in the mix, pushing, whatever. And in this particular round, yeah, we've got some battleships hiding in the back on both sides, but you know what? The majority of my rounds, a lot of battleships are pushing as well. This whole Deadeye thing is getting overblown. It really is. I don't think it's affecting the game as much as some of us think it is, or are alluding it is, and I'm kind of in a pickle now. I pushed it a little too hard, but what I'm going to do is, and I got lucky here, the Azumo decided to aim for the Mogador, because the Mogador is the biggest threat. So what I'm going to do now, then, is turn into the Kronstadt to keep my rear to this Georgia, so I can't get broadsided by him. Because this Georgia's pushing me now. He's got no choice. I got secondaries popping off in both directions. This is a brawl right here. This is a brawl, and this is how most of my rounds win. In the Missouri, I'd push right up to a cap. I'd use those, or that radar, and then from there I'd push some more. You can still push in battleships. It's your choice, though. It's up to you whether or not you want to push or brawl. You know, the meta can only force you so much to play lethargically or sit in the back. But at the end of the day, if you're in a battleship and you want to brawl, you can brawl. You might not last as long, but I guarantee you, and see, there's some fires right there. Look at that. I guarantee you, more than likely, it's not Deadeye that is going to take you out of the game if you're in a battleship. It's going to be HE from a destroyer or a cruiser. And that was the case in the first round I played. I was one of the few that pushed, and I held my own, and I did decent enough, but I just succumbed to a lot of HE because our destroyer sank, and there was nothing to keep the other destroyer from keeping me spotted. And there goes that Kronstadt finally, which means I can focus on this Georgia right here. So it's up to you how you play this game. It's up to you whether you want to sit in the back with Deadeye and snipe, or if you want to push even if you have Deadeye, or if you don't want to take Deadeye completely, because it is a 4-point skill. There are other viable options. Even if you don't take close quarter combat, you know, you can still take that 4 points and split it amongst level 3 skill and a level 1 skill, or 2 level 2s. I mean, you have options. But the choice is yours, how you play this game. And chances are, if you do push and you do brawl, other players are going to see that and they're going to follow. And if you're in a division with 3 players, you definitely should push and brawl. Because if the other team doesn't, I tell you what, if you're sitting in the back with Deadeye, you are doing no good for your team. Because more than likely, you're out of position so that when you finally are needed, you're really not going to be able to help the team the way you should. So yes, get out there and brawl. And again, you might die or sink, as it is, earlier than you would have if you didn't brawl. But, you know, that's the case either way. That's how it always is. And, you know, the people are saying that brawling is dead and pushing is dead. You know what? It's not like everybody brawled and pushed anyways. I really don't think the ratio has changed post-Deadeye. I think the same amount of people are still sitting in the back, sniping, and the people that want to brawl are still brawling. Yes, you got to be a little more on your toes in a cruiser or, you know, even a battleship, but it's not the end of the world. It's not the worst thing in the world. We're going to adapt and overcome. I know I said this in the other video. You know, but we just like to whine sometimes about things, and, you know, this is probably going to be in the headlines until submarines come in, and then we're going to forget about Deadeye, and everybody's going to forget that it was even controversial at one point, and 2 years from now it'll just be a distant memory. But, you know, don't listen when someone tells you that brawling is dead in this game, or there's no incentive to brawl, or it's not fun brawling, or you shouldn't brawl. You know? Especially if it's someone like me, a CC or something. Again, you know, this is just an opinion based on, you know, play. And my opinion is, and what I've seen and how I've played, brawling is perfectly legitimate still. You can still have a lot of fun in it. There's still numerous ways to play this game. And one commander skill is not going to completely take that ability away. It's not going to, quote-unquote, kill it. You can still have fun doing it. it's just all depending on the type of map you get, the team's loadout. I mean, all the same things that we have to plan and deal with in any other round. This is a good map for pushing. Tears of the Desert, probably not so much. Did Deadeye change that? Absolutely not. It would have been the case whether Deadeye was in existence or not. Tears of the Desert still would be a bad map to push, especially if you got a ton of destroyers on the enemy team or in the game. So there's all these factors at play. Deadeye's just a small piece of it. A small, sometimes inconsequential piece. So really, you just need to play the game. You've always played it. You don't need to worry about Deadeye. You don't know which battleships have it. I guarantee you not every single battleship is taking it. I'm sure there's players like me out there trying new things out to see if they help, playing with secondary builds, players that want to get out there and push. And you know what? If they do, I'm going to meet them. I'm going to meet them head on in the middle. I mean, not right away, because if you do that, you are going to get sunk. But if you play smart, if you play, you know, the way you should, somewhat conservatively when you need to, or a little more liberally when you need to, you'll find that right balance, and you'll push, and you'll brawl, and you know what, like me this past day, you'll have a lot of fun. So, that's all I gotta say, and I'm done with Deadeye after this. I'm done with Brawling's Dead and everything else, because it is not. The furthest from it. Anyhow, I want to know your experience right now, how you're seeing things, how you're seeing the game, and I will catch you all later. Hope y'all are doing wonderful. Again, don't despair. It's not the end of the world of Warships with Deadeye. Things are okay. Brawling is still in existence and is still fine. Take it easy. Later. Zoop out.